Hello and welcome to Stampscaping 101. I was going through some scenes that I have amassed over the last 20 years or so, and was going through boxes and boxes of gallery submissions for the website, just correspondence, catalog requests, etc. And it was really a fun kind of experience looking at a lot of the scenes that people have sent us in past decades. This is about 20 years at this point in time since Stampscapes has been in existence, and there was a lot more kind of written correspondence, before the internet and digital technology, and it was just kind of interesting seeing all these pieces, and also a little bit of the, I don't know, I guess, brief historical aspect of stamping and kind of looking at the media that we used to use and what people are still using these days, but kind of how things evolved in the industry over time. But in the context of Stampscapes, I wanted to show people, I don't know, in this video, just kind of some different looks that we've seen over the years. I don't have these in any type of order, and not all stamps on these cards are Stampscape stamps, but I'm not going to talk about every image on these because there's just so many and I want to get through them, but I don't know. It started off with this first box that I've opened up today, and some of these scenes go back to 1994, 96 or so, and probably through about, I'm guessing, 1998 or so. I'm guessing in this one box that I opened up, maybe a little bit later, maybe in the 2000s, but like I said, they aren't in any type of order. But let's just start off with this first one right here. This one's by Sandy Marr, and I'm always talking about in my instructional videos that Stampscapes can be done in, a variety of different media, and the paper and surface choices that you would choose to use with that media, you do in accordance with whatever media you happen to be using and what's best for that. This paper right here are the scenes done on watercolor paper, and what she's done is embossed the scene. I think all the imagery is embossed in black, probably detailed embossing powder, and then what she's done is she's gone back into the scene and painted it in watercolors. So let me see if I can show this. You can kind of see the texture of this paper a little bit, right? And naturally on paper with a tooth to it, in other words, it's not super flat, you're not going to get as good as crisp an impression as stamping on something like a glossy paper. But I mean, in this scene, I think it looks great like this, and then on top of it, you have this embossing powder, where, some of the little finer details will spread a little bit, but, that doesn't seem to be, that's not an obtrusive look in a scene like this, and you can see that shininess of the embossing on there. So that's kind of a fun way to work right there. Now, I happen to know the name of that person because she has it on the back, but I don't have the names of everyone that have done these cards. This one's by Kathy Keene. Is that it right there? Yeah. And I like how she's just kind of written out this quote, eventually all things merge into one, and a river runs through it. I'm haunted by waters. Norman MacLean. You might recognize that from the book, or from the Robert Redford created movie by the same name. But a really nice glow in here. She used the stamp Tonal applicator to do the background on here. This is an envelope, and there used to be a lot more mail correspondence, M-A-I-L. And there were a lot of stamped envelopes that people used to do back when. And this is just a a quick scene that someone's done, but I mean it's really effective. You see the real free-form usage of the designs. That's not our cloud right there, or some of these bushes, but anyways, really nice kind of a framework for the address. It's an old address, by the way. And this is from Noel Holly. And let me see. Yeah, I don't know what date that was. I was seeing if I could see a postmark on there. Donna Goss right here. But look at this really incredible kind of glowing, vibrant cloud up there. It's stamped probably in a number 9 Marvy pink. Kind of recognize that color, but look at the effective use of the highlights on these trees, kind of reiterating the lighting coming from the, kind of a centralized lighting right there. You have a few of those highlights on the top of the roof, on the sides of the trees, facing the light right there. So really nice composition and color scheme. Use of the castle is really nice, and then this is Georgia Cerrone. Background is done with the tonal applicator again. She probably masked off this castle right there, and really vibrant and kind of electric, iridescent maybe looking colors used in here. It's really pretty interesting, and I really like that composition. A lot of these scenes, I can tell this one was mounted on this board I had in our booth for years on our kind of back displays that we used to have when going around to different shows. Here's another envelope right here. I like that, how they did it in this kind of vertical format here. This one's by Catherine something. I put her name down here, but I can't read it at this point in time. But really nice use of the imagery, and I don't know, I think this is sponge on here. It's probably with cosmetic sponges, because back then they didn't have things like the stylus tool, but and I don't know what type of paper it was. Might have used their own paper, or it just might be a regular envelope. I have it mounted, so I'm not really sure. This was also in our booth. But really cool, doing the envelope in a vertical, elongated format, but really soft kind of pastel colors right there. Donna Izuka at the time, 10 years old, done in the tonal applicator. She was even using the probably the white paint pen. I don't think they had white gel pens at the time, but there were a couple companies that made the white paint pen, but she's kind of outlined some of her rooftops right here. And I don't know, probably from 20 years ago, so they're not 10 years anymore, 10 years old. Marissa Forte used the star cluster stamp right here, and looks like the tonal applicator flame stamp, and I always like the color scheme here and the kind of the explosive movement of the the direction of that tonal applicator flame stamp. But see this back in here, the background trees, that purple is the same purple that's been used in the surrounding shaded area. She's gone over it with probably a black too, so it doesn't read as that purple, but look how those extra trees in the background give that scene depth. And then, of course, she's retained the light of the paper right there to have the stars really stand out and kind of be the focal point as far as the lighting direction of the scene. But really effective use of the white paint pen as well right here on the tops of the rocks to capture that. I guess in this scene it would be starlight. So Joan Ware, really great scenic stamper, had her own line of scenic stamps as well. Um, but really vibrant, kind of an electric, free-form kind of use of the imagery right here. You can see it's almost like done in brushwork fashion, you know, to kind of I don't know, to enhance kind of the spirit of the kind of the color scheme and I don't know, the movement and electric kind of nature of this scene. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? But I love the work in here and the I don't know, almost kind of an expressionistic usage of the stamps, painterly, you might say. Um, Claudia Vogenreiter from Germany. Another envelope, but look how nice that envelope is. And all these envelopes, they're on standard, just envelope material. I guess people were making their envelopes back when, but not as much, you know, as they do now with kind of envelope templates and whatnot, where you're just making your envelopes out of any paper you want. But really effective use. I mean, you can actually see the lines of the envelope on the back side of it, you know, where it's a little bit darker there, but you know, even adding these subtle little details in here with shading and whatnot. I don't know what media that is. I've laminated it too, so when it used to go around to our shows, it wouldn't get destroyed over time. But it could be colored pencil. In fact, I think it is. It seems like a lot of scenic stamping that was done in Germany, I don't know, back in the 90s, it was all colored pencils, and they were all, I don't know, it seemed like everyone that did it was all kind of masters at, you know, colored pencil usage. This is Wilma. Not sure the last name, but a nice quiet spirit to this scene right here. Nice use of the white gel pen to bring out this tree out of the background and to reiterate the lighting within the scene. You can see even on this thin branch of the tree that the dots are all on the side of the branches facing the moon. Look at that moon right there. It's even done in kind of a multi-color right there. Dark tones around it to kind of make the moon pop out and stand out. And what does that say? 1995, going back 20 years at this point in time. Here's another one of her scenes, really deep, vibrant, rich tones right here. Kind of a sunset, I'm guessing, scene. And, oh, Wilma Flanagan. She sent us a lot of scenes back then, 1995. And here's that same type of composition right here, but just two different colors, right? I mean, it's different. This is the meadow right here, and that's the meadow right there, but this is the lakeside reflections large right there. But look at that nice glow down here from the sky, you know. I don't know, what do you call it? Kind of a lighting and reflection of light, you know, lighting and reflected light in the water area. So it's a good way to add, you know, color and vibrancy and kind of a light source within the scene. If you have a body of water, it's just to, you know, you can put a kind of a sky in two different areas right there. Okay. Randall Curry, I'm guessing right here. He was the first one that we really aware of in the stamping world that did photo stamping. Okay, he had an article. I believe it was in Rubber Stamp Madness. But he stamped, for the most part, I think it was scenic stamping. But he did them on photographs, and he would take pictures of things like skies, and have them printed out just on standard photo paper. And just with standard ink, we didn't have things like StazOn or anything like that. They were dye-based inks, and they found out that they stamped just fine on the photo paper. And they made for some pretty interesting and complete scenes by doing that. I mean, here, you know, you have a background of just a kind of a sunset or something like that, and just two impressions on there. I think he's gone back in here and colored with pen that yellow in the lakeside cabin, but really effective use of imagery in a very kind of a minimalist manner. Just two impressions, and you have a complete scene there. Glossy, of course, and just really matted nicely. This is another scene right here. You can see right here a photo stamping scene. He had clouds over here. Now I'm guessing it was probably like this. You know, he had clouds right here, but where this is mostly white, you know, if this is all cloud up here, he was able to stamp the palms with huts and use some of these rocks over here and background tree. But kind of the clouds down here ended up being the water, or perhaps mist or waves, you know, crashing over here. He's used the seaside cove in the background, but kind of an interesting way making use of the compositional element of his photograph in this manner right here. Okay, because you can't stamp this image up here if this was all kind of that blue background, because it would show right through these images, right? So he's, you know, having this, you know, majority of this area probably clouds back here. It's given him the ability to color these stamped images anything he wanted to. And again, I'm guessing this is just, he was probably using something like La Plumes or something like that to color these huts and trees, you know, just with that detailed pen work. Let's switch up here. Let's go to this scene right here from Linda Ellenwood, you know, because here's the same image right here. Here's what you don't see too often. You don't see too many 8.5 by 11s. I know someone that worked almost exclusively in 8.5 by 11, but for the most part, you know, we're using card-sized imagery. But this is a really beautiful scene done, I guess, in mail correspondence again, because you have the address right here, and just a really beautiful scene done on. This is done on glossy paper, but she's just glued it to the envelope here. But can you imagine getting this in the mail? You know, where someone's really spent, you know, a lot of time on this composition right here. You can see it's done in the Tonal applicator. I can see because there's all these little dots applied in here, and she's probably gone back into these waves here and kind of sponged that color in with some sort of applicator right there. But a lot of the splashing wave spindrift coming off the top of these waves are done in some sort of white paint, or again probably a white paint pen. So really a beautiful envelope. Okay, going back to another envelope here. This is kind of a nice scene. It's I think it's colored pencil, but just a simple, you know, use, you know, stamping something here in the corner. That's not our design right there, but the crooked path and the hiker and child stamp. This is from 1996. Joe Sheely. So it's kind of a nice gradations of green that you can, you know, do by using something like colored pencils. So kind of makes for a nice envelope. Even the flowers here are almost kind of thematic within a, you know, scenic stamping context. Okay. This scene right here. Now, a lot of I think all of these are on our website, by the way, in the gallery section, but like, for example, this one right here by Tyra Smith, it's a piece of glass or plexi, okay? And what she's done is she's embossed these branches right here on the plexiglass that has been placed on top of a stamped scene. This is from the year 2000. Stamped the scene back there, okay? And then embossed, I mean, there's even different colors of embossing down here, a layered reeds, but this is something that you just, you know, you can't capture in, you know, a flatbed scanner. It's just not, it doesn't do the piece justice. Okay, but that bird right there, the solo duck, is in the, is embossed as well, so you can really see the dimension and the kind of the cool nature of this piece right here. Better on camera like this, in video form. We all know Suze Weinberg. She sent us this going back to the photo stamping, and I think she used this is 1996, and there's some airbrush work on here, but she's used this mill down here, the water mill, and stamped these. Now, you know what I think? I think this is a photograph. These branches are probably in the photograph itself, I'm guessing, looking up at the sky, and then she's positioned these stamped images around it to kind of, you know, frame off the scene more, and then she's gone in and added additional color to kind of, I don't know, bring the cloud formations, you know, a little bit more character. But look at this. I love the formatting of this card right here as well, just with the textured paper and the matting. And speaking of that, here's another piece that she did, photo stamping. Clouds in the background, but how it looks on this landscape is it almost, the darker areas of the sky kind of almost look like just, I don't know, shaded areas of the ground, maybe the shadows being cast by clouds themselves. And then of course we have this kind of this, I don't know what type of paper you call that, or plastic. It's not really paper, but it's kind of that dimensional plastic. I don't know, sheets or paper or whatever. Anyways, a really cool piece. Look at her cool, this is also by Suze, her calligraphy and her I don't know, envelope formatting. But this is her UT when she was introducing that to the crafting world. She sent me this piece right here, and it's of the cabinet. It's covered in this her ultra thick embossing powder, but it gives it a really interesting textured look, you know, and very dimensional and deep. And again, the flatbed scanner just, you know, it's not going to do it justice. You know, yes, I have to see those things live, but let's look at a couple more pieces here in this video, and I'll do some additional videos here. Shannon Sueyoshi stamped these images on to a wood-grained paper, okay? It's not wood, but it's kind of that wood-grained look, okay? So the paper itself is flat. She stamped this on these papers, and then they're black, they're embossed in black, along with the ducks information down here. And then what she's done is, I believe she's gone with some clear embossing as well on the water texture down here. Okay? And then gone back into these scenes, these pieces here, and she's colored them. Where it's clear down below, of course, it's going to resist the ink, and the embossed, black embossed imagery up here, of course, makes it so that you can color into these with a water-based medium, I'm guessing, and they won't smear. Plus, it's also kind of nice, and see that right there? It's also nice to have that embossed surface, because it just makes it more dimensional. Okay, the foreground reeds down here are also embossed. You can see that, and there's that embossing, that clear embossing for the water texture. So, really interesting look, a different look, you know, going back to embossing of those other applications of embossing, but this one's just done on that wood textured paper, and the wood textured paper in the background, it almost gives it a movement and kind of a real natural spirited look. Could even be like weather or something like that, you know, moving in the background like a weather wind pattern or something like this. Now I believe this is by the same Shannon, but she has taken this and then stamped the watermill out in a kind of that iridescent embossing. Okay, it's, yeah, here we go. It's kind of glittery, right? And gone back into it, and I'm trying to think of, she's either painted, I think it's painted, because it looks like more brushwork to me, the colors into the scene, and trees, and kind of the brick and woodwork of the piece, but single stamp, but very effective use, and all of the work has been done in the kind of the rendering and coloring of the image itself. Okay, so certainly landscape stamps, you know, especially when it involves some kind of main central figure like that. I mean, there's no reason why you can't use these stamps, you know, individually without their sibling designs, you know, where it's everything's going out to the edge. Here's a huge scene right here. I wish I remember, you know, could remember who did this one, but this is, let me see, this one's going to be glary right here, but most of these images are not Stampscape stamps. What they've done is they've done this whole undersea theme here, and the Stampscapes imagery are, you know, these mountains and clouds right there, not the moon. And look how they've used the white paint pen with these bubbles coming from underneath, but you know, this coral and things like that. Really fantastic. 11. It's hard to, with a huge scene, see how big this scene is right here. Can't keep the glare out of something like this. I had this laminated and up in the booth at the conventions as well, but really fun use of the white paint pen in these waves right here. I don't know if, I think they might have, I don't know if that's a wave stamp, you know. I mean, it probably was, and they've probably gone back in and really added a ton of that gel around in here. It almost looks like they've kind of free-formed it, you know, real painterly kind of expression, but the whole skyline up here done with the clouds. But you can see even in a large scene like this, this light's really bothering me, but anyways, kind of a centralized area of light. Okay, so you have light, and then it gets darker as it moves out, right? You know, up here down here to kind of frame things off, where you have this kind of area right here that's a little bit more illuminated. So you can see even in a large scene like this, you know, you want the retention of certain areas of light for keeping a value range is really important, maybe even more important. But then you have areas, you know, they've kept areas down here illuminated as well, so it's not just light and then dark, okay? You bring these areas out like that for visual interest and, like, you know, kind of like stage lighting or something like that. You can spotlight any areas that you want kind of to stand out, you know, for the viewers. Okay, another large scene from Linda. I'll cover up the people's addresses right there, but anyways, really huge scene, done in 8.5 by 11, vibrant scene. You can see the real freeform usage of imagery. She was really a master of composition, you know, and technique amongst, you know, just about everything else that she did. But let's see, this is done in 1996, so boy, almost 20 years ago. Really incredible work. Just let me see, looking at the envelope here. Here's another square envelope. Now it looks like she did do make her own envelope, because that's on glossy paper right there. I'm looking at this larger envelope. Looks like I had some other pieces in there. Double-sided right here. I have number 2 because that's, I used to send these to my friend to scan for the website. But real free-form use of textured elements up here. A lot of times she would take the subject matter of, you know, something like this. And I don't know if she, I don't think she did it on this one, but she takes kind of smaller imagery of something and then just kind of almost paint with it, swirl it around, you know, taking, you know, stamped imagery or something like that and use it like this, you know, to create different textures and movement within skies like that. So really fantastic use of the imagery and a real experimental and free-form use of the stamps as applicators. Same thing in this scene right here. You can see that real textured sky up there in this composition. Really very, very creative, to say the least. I guess this is almost getting into kind of a portfolio review at this time, but she had some other pieces here as well. Oh, let's see. Yeah, look at these right here. This one right here was, that's not her tree trunks right there, but what she's done is she's taken this stamp called the Splash stamp, and she started experimenting around with doing frames with that, and that's the same textured stamp that she was using to make grass and also the foliage of the tree right there. So what you get is when you start doing something like that, even though it doesn't necessarily read as like one image or whatnot, you get this continuity throughout the scene by kind of a repetition of form. This is kind of a nice envelope by Linda as well. Right here, like this kind of freeform kind of cutout right here, placed on this paper right here, and another example of what you just cannot show in just a flatbed scanning of this. So you open this up like that, and I don't know if you see this right here. See that there's 3 different layers of depth right here in this scene. So when you open this up, I don't know, I wouldn't actually call it, I wouldn't call it a pop-up as much as like a dimensional, I don't know, relief or whatnot. But background, foreground, background, midground, and foreground actually in three-dimensional different dimensions right here. So really cool format to that right there. So this is just kind of the I don't know, the teaser thing. Then you open it up and get that. More textures like that. You know, that free form kind of use of the texture up above. See all these colors that you get down here, very rich and textural. I don't know how that little red was created. It might have been, you know, coloring, you know, not this stamp right here, but coloring a stamp and like putting one dot of red into it, or a couple dots or something like that, and going back and doing something like this, you know, as opposed to using a stamp in the traditional impression method. You know, she was using it more as an applicator, you might say. So, oh, going back into the framing aspect of it again, you know, these ones are really getting textural and framed off. But look at these beautiful scenes right here. Same compositions done in two different color schemes, giving the scenes their own unique look, feel, and spirit. This is the crooked limb stamped all the way around these scenes right here. And then just using different colors on the splash stamp, she's really created a kind of a layered, full, textured look to the surrounding, I don't know, what, foliage these scenes. So here it is again, you know, that little bit of red in the coloring of the image. I should have pulled out the splash stamp, but anyways, real fun use of the that technique right there. So anyways, I'll cut it off right here. Okay, one more. Sorry. The kind of monochromatic look. Real sparse use of the white paint pen. You see that in the shadow of the tree right there, just to capture some of that moonlight, and down there on the water's edge, you know, just that little glistening little white down there is really fun. It's a Stampscape by Linda Ellenwood, but kind of a real sparse use of lighting, but you have that little area of the windows and that area of the moon. A little bit of glow back there, but it's a little bit more gray. But you can see that sparse use of lighting kind of really affecting things. Here's this waterfall kind of capturing some of that light too. So real kind of silvery, I don't know, patina, you know, look to this. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed these scenes, some different looks and some different techniques. I have a lot of these videos to do, and I plan to share these scenes. Like I said, they're also in the gallery section, but sometimes you can just see a lot more and kind of in this video format. So I notice I have 3 or 4 more kind of large Xerox, you know, copy paper boxes full of scenes, and I'll get through some of those as well. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, and hope you enjoyed kind of a little walkthrough of some really great work from people over the years.